Solving the following trigonometric equations. 1 plus cosine x minus 2 cosine x over 2 is equal 0. So before we start solving, let me explain how you're gonna analyze this type of equations and how to figure out which direction you're gonna go to simplify this or that equation. So you need to pay attention. Here you have parameter x, here you have x and half, which means you either have to convert x to half of x, or vice versa, a half of x bring to parameter x. So since there is a formula, very popular formula, I would say, 1 plus cosine alpha equal 2 cosine square alpha half. Look here, we have here 1 plus cosine x. I'm going to replace it with 2 cosine square alpha half. So which is going to be 2 cosine square x over 2, right? So we brought to the half of x, minus 2 cosine half of x equal 0. Since it's incomplete quadratic equation, we have here cosine square, and then we have just cosine to degree 1. So let's take a common factor out, which is going to be 2 cosine half of x. So in parentheses we will have cosine half of x minus 1 equals 0. Next, so since we have the product is equal 0, so either cosine half of x is equal 0, or half of let's see, cosine x over 2 minus 1 is equal 0. Okay, so from here, cosine half of x is equal 0. That means half of x. When do we have? Let's look at this unit of circle. Which angle has cosine as 0? Here we go. It's pi over 2, 90 degrees, right? Cosine is 0. So it's going to be, and 3 pi over 2, cosine is 0. So plus pi, right? 180 degrees, plus 180, and then plus another 180. So as many times as we want. Which means I'm going to write down x over 2 is equal pi over 2 and plus pi n, right? And from here, x is going to be equal pi plus 2 pi n. Okay, this is the first answer. Let me write down. Pi plus, let me move it. I thought I have some denominator, that's why I moved a little bit higher. Plus 2 pi n. Pi plus 2 pi n. Okay, now let's move to solve the second one. Cosine x minus half of x minus 1 is equal 0. From here, cosine half of x is equal 1. So which angle has cosine equal 1? So it's going to be 0 degrees, right? 0 degrees, and then plus 360, right? Or 2 pi. So it's going to be x over 2 is equal, we don't put 0, we just put 2 pi n or k. Okay, we put k this time. and x from here, it's going to be equal 4 pi k. So the second answer is 4 pi k. Okay? All right, moving to next problem. And let me move this one. Unit circle down because we are using for every trig function. Okay, so we have 1 minus cosine x minus square root 3 sine x over 2. Again, here, what do we have? The parameters are different, right? X and a half of x. And trig functions are different. We have cosine and we have sine. So we need to decide which one to convert to which one. So we can how to say? We can solve both problems at once. Okay. There is a formula. 1 minus cosine alpha is equal to sine squared alpha half. Okay? 2 sine squared of alpha half. To remind you, we used the formula similar. 1 plus cosine alpha is equal to cosine squared alpha half. But when you do 1 minus cosine alpha, you are going to get 2 sine squared alpha half. Half of alpha, okay? So, let's see. 1 minus cosine, right? Cosine x is going to be equal to sine squared x over 2, right? Minus cubic radical sine x over 2 is equal 0. Okay, so sine x over 2, we take out as a common factor, and we are going to get 2 sine x over 2 minus square root 3 equals 0. So from here, either sine x over 2 is equal 0, or 2 sine x over 2 minus square root 3 is equal 0. Alright, so sine x over 2 is equal 0. What does that mean? Which angle has sine as a 0? It is going to be here 0 degrees and pi, right? So from here we have it's equal pi n times, and x from here it's going to be 2 pi n. So this is first answer. We have first result. We have, let me write down, 2 pi n. And next one, let's solve. So 2 sine x over 2 equal square root 3, right? Okay. Sine x over 2 equals square root 3. From here, sine x over 2 is equal square root 3 over 2. Well, let's figure it out. Which sine of which angle has square root 3 over 2? So let me see. It is going to be pi over 3, right? Look here. Square root 3 over 2. And then 2 pi over 3, right? Here it is, 2 pi over 3. Also has sine square root 3 over 2. So from here, we have, in one case, x over 2 is equal pi over 3 plus 2 pi n, and x over 2 is equal 2 pi over 3 plus 2 pi n. Okay? Plus 2 pi n. And from here, x is equal 2 pi over 3 plus 4 pi n, and x is equal 4 pi over 3 plus 4 pi n. So, and the answer is going to be both x's, which is going to be 2 pi over 3 plus 4 pi n, and 4 pi over 3 plus 4 pi n. All right? So this is solution for second equation, trigonometric equation. Now let's move this one, unit circle, move down to third equation. The last one, 3 equations I'm going to solve total. All right, so what do we have here? We have cosine squared 4x plus 3 sine squared 2x minus 1 equal 0. All right, so from here, what we can do, again, we have 4x, we have 2x, we have cosine, we have sine. So this is what I'm going to do. This time I'm going to convert sine squared 2x into cosine 4x using formula. And that formula is 1 minus cosine alpha is equal to sine squared alpha 2. Okay, sine squared alpha 2. From here, cosine squared 4x plus 3 times. So what I'm going to do, sine squared 2x, see, I'm going to represent as 1 minus cosine 4x divided by 2, right? Minus 1 equals 0. Because here is 2 sine, and the 2 sine squared alpha half. But because here we don't have 2, so we divide by 2 to get only 2 sine squared alpha half. All right, so from here, what do we get? Bringing to common denominator and dropping denominator is going to be 2 cosine squared 4x plus 3 minus 3 cosine 4x. I distributed 3 by 1 minus cosine x, 4x, and minus 2 equals 0. Okay, from here, 2 cosine squared 4x minus 3 cosine 4x plus 1 is equal 0. Look what we got. We got 4x as a parameter, and we have trigonometric, we got quadratic equation, cosine square, and then cosine to power 1, and then available term. So we are going to solve as a quadratic equation. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take cosine, substitute cosine 4x, substitute with a. And I'm getting 2a squared minus 3a plus 1 equal 0. Okay, so here I'm going to use the formula of discriminant where a12 is going to be equal negative b, let me write down, ax squared plus bx plus 1. So equals 0. Let me bring this down a little bit. All right. Hold on, let me square it. So, and the formula is negative b. Since our b is negative 3, it's going to be positive 3, right? Plus minus b squared, which is going to be 9, and then minus 4ac. 4 times a is 2, c is 1. This is, oh, hold on, this is your c. Okay, is 1. And divided by 2 times a, 2 times 2. Okay, so from here, so from here, a1, 2 is equal 3 plus minus 1. Because 9 under square root, we will have left 1. Divided by 4. And from here, a1 is equal 1. a2 is equal 1/2. Okay, once we are done, we are moving back to our cosine. So cosine for x is equal 1. Cosine for x is equal 1/2. So from here, move this down, we have for x is equal, let's see, which cosine, what angle is equal 1? Cosine of, here it is, 0 degrees, right? And that's it. And that's it, plus 360 degrees to get back to 0. Okay? So, which means it's going to be 4x is equal to 2 pi n. And from here, x is equal pi over 2n. Now let's solve for x, cosine 4x is equal 1/2. When do we have cosine 1/2? That is going to be pi over 3. Here it is, 1/2. Okay? Pi over 3, 1/2. Positive 1/2. And it's going to be plus and minus pi over 3. Because look here, we also have 1/2. It's either 5 pi over 3, or it's going to be minus pi over 3. So we are going to get 4x is equal plus minus pi over 3 plus 2 pi n. And from here, x is equal plus minus pi over 12 and plus half a pi times n. So the answer is going to be pi over 2n and plus minus pi over 12 plus pi over 2n. Okay? Okie dokie. I hope this was interesting. You learned some, and you are looking forward for next set of trigonometric equations to solve. Okay? All right. See you in next video. And if you are interested me to place practicing problems in trig functions, let me know please in the comments or by likes, so I will know. And I will give you some assignments similar problems to this video, to these problems I solved, so you can practice. Okay, see you next video. Okie dokie.